It's Sunday night. You open your eyes. The alarm isn't set yet. Tomorrow is Monday. Again, you try to remember what happened this week. Tuesday, Wednesday. They blur together. You were busy, you know that. But when you reach for a specific moment, something you saw, something you heard, there's nothing there. Just a blank. You scroll back through your messages, your calendar, your notes. The week is full. Meetings, calls, emails, reminders. But when you try to replay it like a movie, the screen in your head stays dark. This is the blank week effect. And in a few minutes, you'll see the exact moment it starts. But first, a question. If your week really happened, why does it feel like it didn't? This is educational storytelling based on composite scenarios and research, not medical, legal, or therapeutic advice. You say, "It was busy. I had meetings. I worked on a project." You give them a summary. Now imagine a different question. Tell me 3 moments from this week. Not tasks, moments. Something your brain actually recorded. That question is a lot harder. You search your memory. Maybe you find one. The printer jammed. Someone made a joke. It rained unexpectedly. You can see that. But after that, it's just gray. So here's our first test. Pause now. Try this. Write down 5 specific moments from last Tuesday, not tasks. Not "I had a meeting at 10, moments, something you saw, something you heard, a small scene that actually happened. If you don't remember the exact day, that's part of the test. Just pick a recent weekday and try, how many did you get? Most people don't get 5. Some don't get any. They remember obligations, not moments. It's closer to a documentary editor. It receives a flood of footage every day and has to decide in real time what might matter later. It keeps very little. Let's collect some evidence. Clue number 1. The blur happens on ordinary days. Think about your last vacation, the hotel room, the smell of the lobby, the way the light looked on the last morning. You can probably picture it. Now think about some random week from 3 months ago. Harder, on vacation. Almost everything is new streets, new sounds, new routines. Your brain thinks, this might matter. It keeps more of the footage. On ordinary weeks, the opposite happens. Same street, same chair, same login screen. The brain thinks, I've seen this already. You remember interruptions. The day your coffee spilled on the floor. The day the power went out. The day you took the wrong exit and had to loop back. These moments are not necessarily pleasant, but they stand out. You can see where you were. You can almost feel the texture of the moment. Why? Because your brain is a change detector. The counterintuitive one. You remember more from certain years of your life than from last month. Childhood summers. Your first year in a new city. A job you had for only a short time. You remember way more detail from those periods than from last month's routines. It's not because those years were objectively better. It's because they were more encoded. More things were new. You were paying attention without trying. You had more tags on your timeline. So the question becomes uncomfortable. What if your week didn't feel empty because nothing happened? What if it felt blank because your brain never really recorded it? To understand how that happens, we need to reconstruct a week in slow motion. Let's pick a Monday. Not a disaster Monday, an ordinary one. The kind you've had 100 times. 712, Your room is dim. The air is cool. Somewhere in the building, a pipe groans. You reach for your phone before your feet touch the floor. The screen lights up the room. Notifications, overnight messages, a news alert, a random video thumbnail. Your thumb starts to move before you fully wake up. You scroll for 3 minutes, maybe 8. You're not sure. By the time you stand up, your brain has already been flooded with images, headlines, and fragments of other people's lives. Strange question. Can you remember a single thing you saw in that scroll? Most people can't. The footage came in. Just didn't get a tag. 7:38 a.m. You're in the shower. You're not really there though. Your body is. Your mind is replaying something from yesterday or simulating a conversation for later today. Your hands move automatically. Wash hair. Rinse. Done. Your brain doesn't record shower number 2000. It has seen this cut before. 8:15 a.m. You sit in the same chair you always use. Shape. You open the same laptop. The login screen is the same gradient of blue. You type your password without looking. Tabs open. Email. Chat. A document from last week. Nothing is wrong. Everything works. You're already on autopilot. 12:30 p.m. Lunch. You eat where you always eat. At your desk. On the couch. In a corner of the kitchen. The food tastes fine. You don't really notice. A video plays in the background, half on mute. You answer one more message while chewing. Later, if someone asks, "What did you have for lunch on Monday?" you might be able to dig up the answer. Sandwich, salad, leftovers. But it won't come with a scene. Just a label. 3:17 p.m. You feel a dip. You stand up, stretch, refill the mug. You're already reaching for the same app before you even decide to. 6:42 p.m. You close the laptop. The day is over. You did things. You can point to the results. But when you lean back and try to replay the day like a film, all you see is a rectangle of light in a dark room. Here's the twist. The collapse didn't happen at 6:42. It wasn't the moment you closed the laptop. It was much earlier. It happened the first time the day became predictable and stayed that way. It happened when your route, your rituals, and your screen pulled your attention into a tight, narrow beam and never let go. Once the patterns lock in, your brain stops tagging. It thinks, this is normal. I'll save energy and skip the recording. That's the blank week effect in motion. But now comes the trial. On one side, we have the prosecution. They tell a very familiar story. They say, this is your fault. You're distracted. You're not present. You're glued to your phone. If you were more disciplined, your weeks wouldn't blur. On the other side, we have the defense. Their story is less moral, more mechanical. They say, attention is not a character trait, it's a reaction. Your brain is responding to patterns. If nothing stands out, nothing gets encoded. This is not laziness. It's how the system is built. The prosecution points to your screen time. They say, look at these hours. Clearly, you don't care about your time. The defense points to the shape of your days. They say, look at this repetition, the same route, the same chair. The brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do, ignoring static. So which story wins? If you've been blaming yourself for not remembering your own life, it's tempting to accept the prosecution's version. It feels almost responsible, but it's not very useful. You can't punish your way into remembering more. Shame doesn't create memory. The defense story, the mechanism story, gives you something different. A lever. It says, if memory encoding needs novelty plus attention tags, then you can change what gets recorded by changing the pattern, not your personality. The verdict? Not guilty. You're not failing at life. You're running into the blank week effect. And now you know its rules. So what do we do with that? If memory needs novelty, do we need constant adventure? Do we need to move cities, quit jobs, chase extremes just to feel like we really lived? The week? No. The brain doesn't need big novelty. It needs small interruptions, micro-novelty, tiny different signals that say, hey, this is not exactly the same as yesterday. And those signals are cheap. That's where the memory marker blueprint comes in. Think of it as a way to install deliberate hooks in otherwise ordinary days. Not to make your life dramatic, but to make it record. The blueprint has 4 steps. 1 common failure and 1 escape route. Step 1. Choose one part of the day to modify slightly. Morning route. Lunch location. The place you sit to work. The time you step outside. It doesn't matter which as long as it's usually automatic. Step 2. Insert 1 micro-novelty in that slot. Take a different street. Sit on a different bench. Make a drink you don't usually make. Work from a different corner of the room. Ask a different question in a conversation. It should feel small enough, but you could still do it on a stressful day. Step 3. While you are in that micro-novelty, pause for 5 seconds and notice one specific detail. The pattern of light on a wall. The sound of someone's shoes behind you. The smell of a bakery you're passing. The way your chair feels when you switch sides of the table. You don't have to force a feeling. You just have to mark the scene. Step 4. At night, capture the marker in 1 sentence. Not a diary entry, not a novel, just a single line. Today, I walked past the small blue door with peeling paint and heard someone practicing piano inside. That's enough. You've created an anchor. 1 micro-novelty. 1 notice detail. 1 sentence. Now, the failure point. Most people fail before they even begin because they overestimate the size of the novelty required. They imagine they need an elaborate plan. They think, this week I'll wake up at 5, meditate, go for a run, make a new breakfast, journal for an hour. It was designed for a fantasy version of you. The blank week effect thrives on that kind of all-or-nothing thinking. Because when the big plan fails, you go back to autopilot. And autopilot doesn't encode dots, so we set the bar lower. Much lower. Your micro-novelty should be small enough that you can do it on a bad day. On 4 hours of sleep. After a long meeting. In the middle of a busy project. Here are examples. Usually make coffee at home. One day, you walk to the cafe at the end of the street instead. You stand there for 2 minutes, notice the line, the hum of conversation, the smell of ground. One day, you sit on the floor by the window. It feels slightly strange. You hear a car passing outside that you never really heard before. That's enough. You usually walk straight home. One day, you turn 1 block earlier and loop back. There's a plant on a balcony. Or a light left on in a stairwell. That's enough. None of these require more time. What if you forget to do any of this and suddenly it's 8:30 p.m., you're tired, and the only thing you want is a screen? Find one tiny detail you've never really looked at before. The way the paint chipped near the bottom of the wall. The pattern in the wood grain of your table. A reflection in a window. A sound from outside that you normally tune out. Focus on it for 10 seconds. Then write 1 sentence about that detail. That's your memory marker for the day. The day still. 1 micro-novelty per day. 1 marker sentence per night. Here's how you run it. Before the experiment starts tonight, do a baseline check. Close your eyes and try to remember 3 specific moments from last week. Not achievements. Scenes. Count how many you actually see. Most people get 1 or 2. Day 1. Pick the morning. Change your route by 1 block. As you walk, pay attention until something grabs you. A smell, a sound, a color. At night, write 1 sentence describing it. Then before you sleep, see how many moments from today you can recall. Write the number next to the sentence. Day 2. Pick lunch. Sit somewhere different, even if it's only 2 meters away from your usual spot. Notice how the view changes. Maybe you can see a different window, a different corner, a different person. Walking by. 1 sentence at night. 1 recall count. Day 3. Pick your work setup. Move your chair to the other side of the room. Use a different mug. Change the object that sits next to your laptop. Pay attention for 10 seconds to how slightly wrong the setup feels. Sentence. Recall count. Day 4. Pick a conversation. Talk to someone you normally treat as background. Ask one simple question. Notice their answer. Sentence. Recall count. Day 5. Pick time instead of place. Go outside at a time. You don't usually see your own neighborhood. Very early morning. Late evening. Midday if you're always inside then. Notice the light. Is it harsh? Soft? Orange? Blue? Sentence. Recall count. Day 6. Pick sound. Spend 3 minutes with no screen, just listening, on the balcony. Near a window, on your couch. Notice layers, distant traffic, a fridge, a neighbor's TV, a dog. Sentence. Recall count. Day 7. Make it a review day. Read your 6 previous sentences. Then close your eyes and see how many of those scenes replay with detail. After that, try to recall moments from today as well. Compare your baseline with your Day 7 recall. If you started at 1 or 2 moments per week and end at 3, 4, or 5 per day, that's not a personality change. It's a recording change. Nothing about the outside world needed to become more exciting. You simply gave your brain reasons to tag certain moments as scene worth keeping. The blank week effect didn't disappear. It got interrupted. Now, let's imagine 2 versions of your life 1 year from now. In the first version, nothing changes. Your days stay efficient, lean, predictable. You get things done. Weeks race by. You look back on the year and remember maybe 10 scenes. A crisis, a celebration. The rest is summary. In the second version, you keep running small experiments like this. Different micro-novelties, different markers, same idea. You still get things done. You remember a rainy Tuesday. Walk, a random bench where you ate lunch. A conversation in a hallway that mattered more than you realized at the time. Same calendar, same number of days. Very different archive. That's the real cost of the blank week effect. Not lost productivity. Lost footage. So before you close this video, you have one decision to make. You can let this week join the others in the blur. Same chair, same autopilot. Or you can install one tiny marker in the next 24 hours. Not a new life. It should be so small it feels almost silly. Changing where you drink your coffee, walking around a different block, sitting on the opposite side of the room, calling someone for 3 minutes instead of sending a message. Decide it now. You don't have to tell anyone. You just have to do it once. Tonight, write 1 sentence about it. Tomorrow, do it again. Soon, you'll start to notice a quiet shift. When someone asks, "How was your week?" you'll still talk about tasks. But in the back of your mind, scenes will also appear. The blue door, the rainy corner, the sun on that one bench, the sound in that stairwell. Your life will feel a little more like it actually happened. This is the blank week effect. Now that you can see it, you can catch it. You can interrupt it. You can choose which days become real in your memory. The week is going to pass either way. The only question is whether your brain will have something to show you when you look back. See you tomorrow. In the examine day.